and Brett Moffitt take us down into turn 1.
Ryan Sieg trying to jump on the bottom right off the start. Look at the outside lane, how good it's running. The 9 car all the way up, almost to the top 5 already.
Be very careful right here, 3 wide. It's a wide racetrack, but narrow straightaways. Actually pretty wide corners, but it all funnels into these very heavily banked straightaways. Not a lot of room to avoid issue.
Yeah, you make your time on the exit of the corners, and you talk about that the corners are really wide until you start that exit. A lot of problems from that.
On board right here with Chastain, you hear the patience on the throttle. Not a type of track where you could just jump back in the throttle. Nowhere to go. Mike Lynette, Ryan Sieg side by side. Now Chastain climbs the banking.
Chastain kind of guessing which lane to go with. You see Allgaier jumping underneath him.
Yeah, it's always the hard decision that a driver has to make when you get yourself in that position of cars side by side. Who's going to be able to make this move and move forward? And Ross chose the wrong side that time. Actually lost a spot to Allgaier there.
The 22 of Cindric battling back up through the 20.
Lynette feeling like he's just probably more secure. He can use the wheel, lean on it, just turn it left, keep it there, and just a much more controllable vehicle.
You see the 21 of Anthony Alfredo. Remember, he started the race on pit road, had issues with power steering that since I got to assume has been resolved to be as competitive as he is. Right behind him, the 39 of Ryan Sieg. We talk about the bubble battle, currently 89 points above. I think that's a nice step in the right direction for that 39 car to not have the pressure of continuing to count every point. Why 90 points is nothing, any bit of a guarantee. It still is over a race, right, DJ? If you can carry that into that short track stretch we just talked about, I think Ryan has to feel a little bit of confidence that he can kind of put it all together and make the playoffs.
Yeah, you don't feel that immense pressure as a driver that every move that you make or every pass that you might try to make is so important. So they put themselves in a really good position with these tracks coming up. And you talk about Daytona next Friday night. He's got as good a chance there to win a race as anyone that's going down there. Dave, you got more on Sieg?
I do indeed. Talked to his crew earlier today. That car was just too loose to do much of anything for him. He finished 12th on the day. But the good news was the only mark on the car, just a little scrape on the right rear quarter panel. And the team looked at me and they said, yep, that's just character at Dover.
I would take that. I would take just a little scratch. I mean, Jeff, you and I had this conversation with Jeremy Clements this week about what the doubleheaders mean to the smaller teams. I assume they would be an advantage to the bigger teams. But Jeremy said, it's not the same way. I think of Ryan Sieg as well in this conversation. He says, we get to get twice the racing in for the same money spent on travel, the same money spent on the race car, right? We get to go to Dover, rent 1 hotel room, and run 2 races. So other than the tire allotment, everything else is cheaper. This is a team that has 4 full-time employees. I mean, think about that. They're racing full-time in the Xfinity Series with just 4 people at the shop. We were talking to Jeremy. What did he say? He goes, well, I'm booking hotel rooms right now. That's how I know how many guys are on this.
Normal deal, but, you're always talking about trying to save these teams, especially in the Xfinity Series, money. Is this something to look at, even if things would go back to normal, where, we're fans back to the track and things, but the Xfinity cars run more double